welcome back and welcome to Vlogmas Day 23. I will leave my Vlogmas playlist linked up here in case you have missed any videos. Since it is my birthday today, I thought I would treat you all to a birthday treat of my top 10 adult fiction of 2019. This list was difficult to put together, but it is quite telling that I have a lot of these books on my shelves, mostly on my signed shelves. So there are only 2 books on here that I don't actually have a copy of. Just to say, I have done two rereads this year, which I will talk about in my kind of wrap up of the year when I talk about that. But the rereads have been wonderful, and the reread of the I Heart series and the reread of the Shopaholic series have been just so much fun, and I have really enjoyed those. So it was kind of like coming together with a list of books that I read for the first time this year, but those kept kind of sticking in my mind. So quick honourable mention to those series that I have reread this year. The 2 books that I don't have to show you here, I will try and pop pictures in for you. The first of these was one, thankfully, I did as a buddy read because it was so lovely, and was The Day We Meet Again by Miranda Dickinson. As I say, I don't have a physical copy. I haven't been back to the UK recently to grab a physical copy, but it was so lovely. 2 people meet, they're going off on journeys, they decide that they'll meet back again a year from today in the same place, and what happens to them both as they go off on their separate journeys, and how their lives change and develop, and will they meet back up. And it was just like the sweetest, most romantic thing. I loved both of these characters. I loved finding out what was happening to them. There was some awesome secondary characters in this one. It was just a wonderful novel, and if you haven't read it yet, put it on your 2020 TBR because it was lovely. And then a festive one that made it onto my festive reads, and we have a sequel coming to this one in February. It's not long to wait, so exciting. And this is Coming Home to Glendale Hall by Victoria Walters. As I say, I have an interview with the lovely Victoria Walters on my channel, so I will leave it linked if I can find it for you. And the sequel to Coming Home to Glendale Hall is coming out in February, so I'm very excited. I do have it pre-ordered. I can't wait to read it because I fell in love with these characters and the idea of them coming home. This is one of those that just really reminded me of that mother-daughter relationship in Gilmore Girls. We had it in book form in Coming Home to Glendale Hall. So if you like Gilmore Girls, get reading this one. There's still time to fit in another kind of festive read before the big day. Get it on Kindle. I believe it's still only 99p on Kindle, so highly recommend that one, and it is firmly on my top 10 list. These are, of course, in no particular order. I don't go as far as actually choosing an order to put these books in. I've just narrowed down 10, okay? That was job enough. So then we have another festive one, which again, still time to fit in another festive read before the time, or you might be, you know, feeling those Boxing Day blues and want to pick this up, and this is The Christmas Wish List by Heidi Swain, which in itself is a beautiful book. It's got lovely foil on both parts of the title and the author, and this one is literally the most festive thing you can read. I read it when it was snowing outside, and it's just so lovely. It was great being back in the kind of the Windbridge feeling, the zone of Windbridge, and Winthrop Hall, and all the characters that you can recognise. But as a standalone novel, or if this is your first Heidi Swain, it would be a great one to pick up. Highly recommend. Definitely one of my top 10. And then one that I read earlier on in the year and has only just come out is Messy Wonderful Us by Catherine Isaac. 2 friends, too many things left unsaid, time to put things right, and that's all you need to know about this one. It's amazing friendship between our 2 main characters. They've all got other stuff going on in their lives. There's lots and lots of wonderful subplot here, as well as our main plot. There are some sad moments, there are some funny moments, and there are some moments, and I just really loved it. I picked it up and basically read it in one sitting because it was just a wonderful book. It has only just come out. It will be out in paperback, I believe, springtime next year, so if you're waiting for the paperback, but it's already out in ebook, audiobook and hardback now, and I absolutely love this one. And then a debut which just rocked my world this year. This is Living My Best Life by Claire Frost. This one, if you are anywhere on social media, you need to read this book. She just nails it in terms of what it's like, the life you show online versus the life you are actually living. Maybe perhaps versus the life you actually want, like which one of these, and that's again all you need to know. I love the fact they've got like the kind of sort of Instagram sign on the cover here, and this is just the proof cover. The previous one as well, I should have said, is a proof cover of this one, and this is just, as I say, it rocked my world. It was great. I pretty much read it in one sitting. I think that it accurately portrays what social media is like and what we should be thinking about, perhaps instead of some of the things we're thinking about posting online. Loved it. Firmly on the top 10. Then this has been on a lot of people's top 10s this year, and I really recommended it to my book group, and a few people at book group have recommended it now. Much prefer the UK cover over the US cover in this instance, for sure, but that's because of their cups of tea on their cover. This is the Flatshare by Beth O'Leary. I got the beautiful Waterstones special edition sprayed edges version, and Tiffany and Leon have never met, but they share a flat. He's an overnight nurse. She works during the day, so they share a bed, but they don't sleep together. And we start communicating through little notes, post-its here and there, and you know, things go from there. It was just lovely. It was funny. It was relatable. And then there are so many things to do with Tiffy's life that I found really, really relatable. And I love the way that Beth O'Leary explored that in this novel. She did a great job. So readable, so fun. This is one that I could actually see myself rereading in the future. Loved it. Highly recommend it. And then we have one that just came along at the right time. I needed to read this at this time, and that is Are We Nearly There Yet by Lucy Vine, which I've loved all of Lucy Vine's previous novels, and obviously that meant that I loved this one. This one just made me laugh, and I could identify with so many things that the main character was thinking and saying and doing, and that's what made me laugh. There are like Spice Girls references in here, there are Beauty and the Beast references in here, and I just love Lucy Vine for putting in all those little extra references, like quoting along with the Gaston song from Beauty and the Beast. That is genius. That just completely sold it for me at that point. I was like, yes, yes, I do this, and nobody quotes along with me. You know, clearly I need to have a conversation with Lucy Vine. And again, I am lucky enough to have a signed copy of it, and I really like this like extra little detail, the little plane on the front here, and then it like whooshes round the back too. I just love that. I think that's so good. But yes, if you are needing something, a little bit of light relief from real life right now, highly recommend this one. And then if you're looking for escapism in another form, Sleep by C.L. Taylor. I have a whole video talking about this one, so I will leave it linked up here so you can go and see my thoughts on this book. I'm a huge C.L. Taylor fan. I absolutely loved her first amazing thriller, The Accident, and have loved everything ever since, including her YA thriller, The Treatment. That's the YA one, yes. And then when this one came out this year, and it came out in a beautiful hardback, of course I had to order myself a copy, and it's this gorgeous like soft touch. Go and watch the video if you want to hear it, why this has made it onto my list. But yes, highly recommend, obviously. And then I mentioned at the beginning of this video rereading a couple of series, because the final book, or the, you know, the final installment up to this point, whether it'll be the final book or not, you know, they brought back Will and Grace. Anything can happen. So I have already mentioned the series, but this book had to make it onto my list because I loved it so much. And this is another one of these that I did read pretty much in one sitting. Like if I'm going to do that with a book, you've got a really good chance of making it onto my top 10, because my time is precious. If I'm spending a whole day with your book, it's for a reason. It's I Hat Hawaii by Lindsey Kelk. You knew this was going to be on here. And again, I'm lucky enough to have a gorgeous signed version on my shelf to go with like all my other signed Lindsey Kelks, which are up here. You can see them sometimes. This was just such a wonderful end to the series. It has all the classic Angela and Jenny moments and in-jokes and mishaps and beautiful their friendship moments. Again, we have like little references in here to some like pop culture films and TV shows and things like that, which I always appreciate with Lindsey Kelk. And we've got the fact that Angela is like British but living in the States, and then we had this whole journey with her, and it was just such a fitting end to the journey, and I loved it. I have a whole video talking about this series, so I'll leave that linked up here because I really enjoyed rereading the series, and this series as a whole is just, it's my like glass of wine at the end of a long day. It's like pleasurable and soothing and a bit exciting all at the same time. There you go. And then finally I have The Family Upstairs by Jewell, which again I have made a whole video about. I vlogged the event a little bit when she came here to Denver. Very exciting that she finally came to Denver, and it was so lovely to see her again. I used to go to a lot of her events in and around London, and so it was wonderful to be able to do the same here in Denver. And I talked about exactly what I loved about this book in that review video, so you can go and watch that video and see why this book made it onto my top 10. This is the US edition, and I think I prefer the US edition in this one, and I like the fact that the Book of the Month version has picked out the kind of burgundy of the roses in the burgundy, the Book of the Month at the top. I think they did a really good job with that. Yes, did I see the naked book of this one? I don't know if I took the cover off. Got the burgundy on the inside as well. Guys, you did a good job there. Did a good job, Book of the Month. But yes, love this book. More about it in that video. And there you have it. I've committed to my top 10 adult fiction of 2019. Obviously, I've had my top 10 YA and my top 10 non-fiction. I have some top 10 movies coming up for you soon. And somebody did make a special request for a top 10 books of the decade. I'm still working on that. I will continue to work on that because it's going to take a little bit of work to narrow down my top 10 books of the decade, but there is a possibility that something from this list could be on there because I've had a few books that have absolutely blown me away this year. So thank you so much for joining me to celebrate my birthday by talking about my top 10 adult fiction of 2019. Seems like a good way to bring in a new year of being alive. I will be back with another Vlogmas video for you tomorrow, and it's a super festive one and it has a guest star, so you're going to want to be subscribed so that lands in your subscription feed. You're going to love it. You are. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments if you've read any of the books on my list or what would make it into your top 10 adult fiction if they haven't been included on my list. I'm always intrigued to find out. I will see you tomorrow, so thank you so much for watching. Bye.